Hi, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to discuss 10 lessons from 10 years of doing Ironman, and I've dragged in a Kona qualifier. Sit down. She's got a chair. She's brought her own chair.
IOC.
See? Right.
He dragged me in because he started to film this video of just him and he thought it was just boring.
Well, I just thought no one
Also,
wants to listen to a Yorkshire accent.
If I'd have
also.
known I was coming on the video, I might have just made myself look a bit more presentable.
We're going to do 10 lessons
In 10 minutes.
from 10 years of Ironman racing that I've learned, and then Laura's going to chip in with a few lessons. Laura's just qualified for Kona, so listen in. Lesson 1, my first lesson, and one of the oldest lessons that I ever got taught, probably by my old coach, Mark Livesey, 10, 15 years ago. Time on the bike is seldom wasted. So if you are worried or wondering what to do, one day you don't have a plan, go and get on the bike. The more you can get on the bike, whether that means your bike handling is going to improve, whether that means you can get some non-impact aerobic work in there, whether you can test your fueling strategies, all these kind of things, it's never going to be wasted because that is the biggest section of an Ironman.
Don't do what I did in the first year of training and never go out on your bike.
Time on the bike is seldom wasted. Lesson number 1. Lesson number 2. The second half of the marathon is a leveler for everyone. It doesn't matter if you are the fittest person in the world, second half of the marathon is gonna hurt, okay? It's just part of it, isn't it? You'll do the first half marathon in an Ironman, and you'll be going, I feel really good here. I can run a 3-hour marathon, or I can run a 4-hour marathon. You'll have it in your head going, I feel really, really good. I don't know what happens when you run through that 21k mark, but
You just kind of like, oh,
you
I've
fall
got to do
apart.
all that. No, and not always. Don't get me wrong, but your pace often drops off. Whether you, if you fall apart is a
it's down to your training.
It's down to your training often, or if you've maybe just fueled really badly on the day. You get past that half marathon, you're like, oh my god, I've got another half marathon. Is that most likely for your head to drop, and for it to be hard.
The second half is so hard. Expect it. Lesson number 2, I suppose, is expect the second half of the marathon to be very, very hard. Happy?
Happy.
You give me one.
Some would be ignore how you feel coming off the bike, because chances are you're going to feel like shit, and like that's very normal. I remember coming off the bike in Copenhagen. I mean, I ran a 3.5-hour marathon. It's not my best ever run, but coming off that bike, I felt awful. And you asked me how I was feeling, and I was like, I'm not thinking about how I'm feeling. I'm just running. I'm just moving my body, because if you think about it too much, then you'll get in your head and be like, oh my god, well I feel like shit and I'm 3k in and I've got another 39k to go. So don't think, just do. Just run, do what you've practiced, get your gel in, have a drink, go for a wee, whatever to make you feel a bit more comfortable, but then just get on with it. Don't think, and then you'll settle into it.
And that's a good point, is also don't vocalise that you're feeling bad, because then you'll start to believe it.
Yeah.
So because your family's always going to be going, oh, how do you feel? How are you getting on? Do you look great? Blah, blah, blah. If you can just keep being like, I feel good. I'm feeling good. And if you can keep saying it, you will eventually believe it.
Just smile.
Lesson number 3. You will fall apart at some point. During an Ironman, it is such a long day and such a brutal event. That's what it's for. And that's the beautiful thing about Ironman, is everyone falls apart at some point. Even when you watch the pros on the run, sometimes you're thinking, oh, they're having a shock or they're going to fall apart. Now, just because you've fallen apart doesn't mean you can't pull it back. Everyone will have a period where you just go, I just feel like shit. If you just need to get through that period, then that's just part of Ironman racing. It's a long old day. So understand that at some point you will fall apart, but you can bring it back as long as you've got your fueling strategy and everything in place as well.
Not to overthink how you are feeling, and because then you just convince yourself you are feeling like shit, and then
100%.
It's just even harder.
When you do fall apart, you'll find that everything pisses you off. Whether that's your family going, you're looking good, and you're running around going,
you're almost there.
No, I'm not. Yeah, or someone
park runs to go.
Someone will have a sign saying, or someone will be like, you're nearly there, and you'll be thinking,
someone will have
I've still got 30k, what are you on about?
Someone will have a sign saying you paid for this, and you're like, fuck off.
Yeah, literally. Everything just starts winding you up. But it's part of Ironman, and that's the beautiful thing of it. Number 4, fueling is the most important thing for an Ironman race. Now,
100%.
You can be the fittest person in the world. If you don't fuel your race properly, you'll fall apart. You can have done zero training. If you fuel it well, you can probably go and have a really good race. You've got everything.
Let's just backtrack. Not zero training.
No one's doing an Ironman with zero training.
You just said zero training.
Okay, well, if you did minimal training and you fueled it really well, chances are you can feel good throughout the day.
You'll have a better day doing that than if you were to do loads of training and then fuel it completely wrong. I fueled Portugal really, really wrong, and I completely overdid it with sodium, and then got to the run, had an absolute shocker. So something I learned in that race, and I have learned through Ironman racing, is how important caffeine is. Like, I don't know why I think, because I'm a big caffeine drinker. If I don't drink caffeine, I get a headache. I have like 4 shots of coffee a day, and I have a Monster a day, and then I don't know why I think then on a race day I can have a Red Bull in the morning and then not have any caffeine for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So I found in the second half of the bike, in my Ironmans, I'm like literally feeling like I'm falling asleep, and then I don't have like that spark on the run, but no surprise because I've not had any caffeine. So that was a lesson for me. I need to learn how to get some caffeine in.
The fueling is something you have to practice in training as well, and I know it's an absolute nightmare going, I'm going to go for a 6-hour ride and I'm going to have a gel every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, because no one wants to really have gels. Gels are horrible, we all know that, and they make you feel a little bit shit. But you have to practice with the gel you're going to use as well. So it's all well and good going, I'm just going to use the aid stations, that's fine. If you're going to do that, practice your races on the gels that Ironman are going to use. So whether that's Morton, whether that's Precision Hydration, like look and check what it is and then train with that so that it's not a new thing to your stomach and you're in the Portaloo for the whole time. Lesson number 5, I think it's one of the biggest lessons. Like, it is so easy to forget to have fun. Like, Laura said, like, some of the signs will say you paid for this, and you have paid for it, and we are supposed to be doing it as a hobby. It is brutally fun. We all like that kind of stuff because we're all putting ourselves into it.
It's type 2 fun, isn't it? Like, if you're in the world of Ironman, you like to do things that maybe don't feel quite fun at the time.
Yeah.
The fun bit or the nice bit is the pride you feel post race,
100%.
and there are elements of fun. You know, make it fun as well. Like, support the people around you. Like on the run, you know, you're very much at a conversational pace. Find someone to run with for 10 minutes and chat to them. How are you getting on? Like that's what makes the day. It was fun.
Soak it up, like soak up the atmosphere. Particularly if you're just going to do 1 or 2, enjoy it. You paid like a lot of money for it. The events, and I'll talk about, in fact, do lesson number 6 now because this is going to tie into that. Nowhere does events like Ironman. Ironman events are so slick, well thought out. They bring in like the best commentators who, I've never been stood on an Ironman start line and not got goosebumps or not. And I'm not an emotional guy and not felt like I want to cry.
Sobbing in my arms.
I wasn't sobbing in her arms, but like I felt like I could have cried had someone said cry now. I would have. They literally lay on absolutely everything you can think of.
Even down to like when you go to transition, like there's an entry and an exit. You pick up your bike from somewhere, you walk it through, like it's a one-way system. Like all those little things that rather than it just be an absolute carnage and chaos,
100%.
that you feel like your bike's safe there as well when you leave it overnight. Like those.
Well, yeah.
That's what
there's millions of pounds worth of bikes in there.
Yeah.
The gels are top of the range. Obviously, they've got great sponsors and stuff like that. But like just everything, even like down to in Portugal, most of the time they've got kids that are manning aid stations, and they are there for 12 hours, and for the whole time they're like dancing around and like giving you stuff and like cheering you on, like even just little bits like that. But nowhere does events like Ironman. You'll be chasing the buzz of that red carpet for the rest of your life. Like I stopped racing Ironman for 5-6 years. No event came anywhere near that red carpet.
Don't sprint down the red carpet. Like
no, enjoy it. Yeah,
soak it in. There's people that you see.
Don't run in front of someone on the red carpet.
Yeah, so like,
that's a lesson that wasn't written down, but that is a lesson.
Just don't be a dickhead on the red carpet. Like let everyone have their moment. Like 100%. If there's someone in front of you, like just slow down, walk a little bit. Like what is gonna unless you're fighting for the line to win the race, which I think 99.9% of us are not doing, then you don't need to sprint across that finish line. So let someone have their moment, give them a chance.
It's 20 seconds.
Then you go, you get your photo, because that's what we all want, a nice photo coming down. You don't want then someone in the background coming trying to pass you. You want to punch them in the face.
There's nothing worse than diving in front of someone on the finish line. I hate that.
Oh, you see it in videos all the time, and like you look like a bell end.
Just let everyone have the time. Everyone's done the exact same thing. Enjoy the red carpet, because your family and friends are probably going to be stood there watching.
Yeah.
And it's a 40-metre bit that you'll remember for the rest of your life, and you don't want to be going, oh, I wish I'd have given him a bit more time in front so I could have got my own picture over the line.
Yeah, my own picture and just soaked it up and high-five people and rung the bell and that's all.
Enjoy it. Lesson number 7, you will become a better human for it. I genuinely believe that. I think hardship shapes you as a person, and I think you will become a better person for it. Yes, you'll talk about Ironman for the rest of your life. I think putting yourself into a hole like an Ironman, into the locker, will make you a better person for it. You'll understand yourself a little bit more. You'll understand how to react to bad situations.
Suffering, like being someone who puts themselves in that place, like when you don't have to.
100%.
Takes a certain type of someone and makes you.
It does.
100% a stronger person from it.
And it gives you something to talk about for the rest of your life as well. Lesson number 8 is for me, and maybe some people will say no, it's not a lesson. However, one is never enough. I think once you've done one, you forget the pain of Ironman very quickly. When you come over the line, you go, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
And then 3-4 days later, you go.
Well, not even that, because when we finished Portugal and then we were going to get a McDonald's, I was like, oh, my legs feel fine now. Yeah.
Maybe I should do that.
I loved that, and then we were
maybe I should do that one again.
We loved that
because your mind automatically clicks back to like the good parts and red carpet, getting your medal, sitting in the tent afterwards, having some pizza and a beer, and
feeling so shit, but also feeling so great.
Yeah, like and all your family going, oh, it was amazing to watch. Like your mind just clicks to that. So one is never enough, and you'll always remember that bit. You'll never quite remember the 40 miles on the bike where you were cramping the whole time and couldn't sit up or whatever it was. You'll just remember the finish line. So my lesson for that is one will never be enough. Lesson number 9, Laura's got a call, because this is one of hers actually, or this is one that will reflect on her. Getting a coach, getting a good coach is essentially a cheat code, because you don't have to think about your sessions. It's very easy, to get overwhelmed with, what do I need to do? Do I need to swim? Do I need to bike? Do I need to run? Do I need to do my strength training? Like, what do I need to look like? Do I need to do brick sessions? Leave it in the hands of someone who is trained in it and a specialist in that area. So at my lesson number 9 would be, get a good coach, lean on them, and just allow them to guide your training.
It also just makes it more fun. I think they can just make the whole process a lot more enjoyable, and just 100%. Having that support when you're 12 weeks, 16 weeks into an Ironman prep, when you're feeling like shit, and just having someone there to just be your biggest cheerleader is invaluable. And I think also like what you learn from them as well, and even down to, I have athletes ask me questions all the time just about the little things, like when you're racking your bike and where to put this and what to put in this bag, and just all those little things that you just need that help with, especially if it's your first race. I remember having a coach for my first race, and the amount of questions I asked him on my call before my race, like I was clueless.
Rightly so, though. You paid a lot of money for an Ironman, and you don't want
to fuck it up in transition.
On the swim, or the transition. You've forgotten to put your helmet in transition, or like you don't. Yeah. You just can't have that. Just make sure that you've got it. A
coach just makes it so much more fun.
And then my final lesson, so lesson number 10 is, if you just go in there to complete an Ironman, watch on Instagram and all that, it generally doesn't matter what level of equipment you've got. You can have the most basic bike in the world. You can have, a wetsuit that is 4 5th hand, goggles the same, and an old set of running trainers that you used, 20 years ago. It genuinely doesn't matter.
You don't need to be going and forking out for a new TT bike. You don't need to
that's what I mean.
Right,
yeah. Okay. Lesson is don't listen on Instagram and look at Instagram thinking, shit, I haven't got this aero helmet or this TT bike, or I've not got alpha flies and all this kind of stuff. Do what you've got with the tools that you've got. Like when I did Outlaw Full, some guy was on a BMX. That's the best part about Ironman, is anyone can get involved. You can race the pros and do all that. So those are my 10 lessons, with Laura chipping in as well. Obviously Laura is going to Kona this year, so it's nice to have her input from it. But 10 years of racing Ironman, they were my 10 biggest lessons. Let us know what your biggest lesson is in the comments, and I'll see you soon.
Goodbye.